Now that we have our registration built, we need to test it. The best way to test it is by just adding a test record. As we add a test record and go through all of the screens, I want to read very carefully and see if there are any places where we need to make changes or additions. I can see right now that we're going to need to change the lunch ride because we have multiple entrees for lunch. I'm just picking one of everything so that I can see how it looks. And it doesn't really make any difference what I pick here. I'm going to pick credit card and enter a test in the Starbucks field. And since I use RoboForm, I'm just going to have RoboForm fill in the data for me. So I've checked and added, and now it's going to show me what I have purchased. It's going to show me all the fields that I filled in. Everything looks good, but I have several notes, several things that I need to change. So I'm going to go into Setup again. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to check the General tab to make sure everything is okay there. It looks good. I'm going to scroll through the layout page. That all looks good. The biggest changes are on the questions page. And again, the main question here is I need to change the lunch ride. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a descriptive item that describes the lunch ride as separate from the choices. So I'm showing where the lunch ride is, when it is, and I'm going to make this a miscellaneous text item. Now, since this is all the way at the bottom and I have a huge list of things, I have to drag it up to the top. And I do this for a lot of things, but I'm going to skip showing you how they all work. I'll show you how this one works. It's a drag and drop. I drag it up. And I have to make sure that when I'm done, I say change save item order. Now I'm going to add another item here, which is just a horizontal line so that I can keep things looking nice and separated. And rather than using that line, I'm going to use a line that's a little bit closer to where I need it. I'll just pull it up there. Now I'm going to make 3 copies of the lunch ride item because they have 3 different entrees. And again, I'll scroll down and I'm going to roll those up. When they all get copied up, I'm going to make each one show the entree for that item. So first one is chicken salad. Second one is ham and cheese. And the third one is a caprese tomato and mozzarella sandwich. And I'm going to throw another line up there. I noticed also that my t-shirt notes has an incorrect item saying that the t-shirts are sold out. Well, that was put in there at the end of the year last year. Now we need to just delete that. So I'll delete it and update. Everything looks good, but just to be sure, an easy way to check it out is to do a preview. When I preview, I have to select one registration type to preview. I'm just going to select the first one, ask the system to refresh, and then look at everything. It looks like I got my lunch entree choices there with no problem. I've got a clean t-shirt selection. I've got more lines that make things separate nicely. And that all looks good. Now, one thing I have to add that I forgot about is we need to have an entree choice session for the banquet. The best way to do this is to use the session option. Again, if you need help on this, there's full help in the system. First thing I'm going to add is an explanation of what I'm doing. Then I'm going to include the entrees in as radio buttons. You can only choose one. This option will appear for every registrant. So if I have a man and his wife, they will each get a chance to choose one of these. And again, to take a quick look, I will use the preview function. And there, it looks pretty good. Vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, and I'll probably add a fourth one in for none of the above in case somebody gets caught in there and inadvertently clicks it and doesn't really want it. So now I'm ready to add a test record again. This time I've made lots of changes, so I'm expecting that this test record will look a little better. There are my choices for lunch. I'll pick my t-shirts again. My group picture, DVDs, ball cap, and my contribution to the Dan Clark Fund. I'll use rubber form to fill everything in. Let's add some Starbucks. Answer these checkbox questions. Ask for a vegan meal and continue. The system now shows me all I've registered for. It looks pretty good, so I'm just going to say register. This time I'm going to complete the registration, so the registration is actually going to be added to the system. So I go back to the event home, and I'm going to do a quick roster. I'll see my listing come up there. Click it, view the confirmation. You'll use this a lot in order to maintain individual registrations on the system. Quick roster, click the ID. I can go in and make changes. Now we're done. I close this window. And I'm pretty much done testing, but what I want to do first before I leave is to delete my test record. I don't really like to have a lot of test records hanging around on the system. So I have no test records, no records anymore. Now I'm going to go to my email, and for my 2017 STAR folder, I'm going to make a new folder called Registrations. I find my registration that I just got from the email, and I'm going to create a rule for it. I'm going to say anything that contains registration confirmation, I want to move it to the folder STAR 17 registrations. So now as those things come in before or from now on, they'll be moved into that folder so I can easily see what's happened. And for this case, I'm just going to move that registration into the folder. Now I'm going to click it, and this is another test. I really want to go through all of this. What I really want to do is to click the links and make sure that they all work. This is the email that every registrant will get. So I'm checking the routes. Routes all look good. Nice page of routes. So I close that. Go back to my email. Click the hotel rooming link. That looks good. Close that. The rooming link that gives you the hotel information. Very nice. Shows you a picture of the hotel parking. And the Colorado Springs visitor guide. And here's the Colorado. This is our Facebook page for Colorado Springs. And here's the guts of my confirmation. It just shows that a PayPal payment is pending, meaning that nothing has happened before. I want to test this little link too to make sure I can click back into my registration. Should I not be paid or have some other problem, I can go back in and make a change. I can actually go back in and cancel also. Looks good. No cancels because this registration is already deleted. And I'm done. Ready to go.